No, unfortunately, it's like more like the Olympics with camels and crocodiles. Yeah. Sorry about that. What's up, everybody? Eric here, Tabletop Haven, coming at you with an after one-ish plays of something special, something big, something massive, something from the Deepwoods, Oathsworn, into the Deepwoods. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with where I'm at in the plays on this. I have played through 3 full scenarios. Not in 3 sessions, but 3 full scenarios. So, how the game works is you have a city phase, then you have a fight phase. If you're watching this and you don't know that, wow, hey, what's up? It's Oathsworn, and this game is cool. Yep. But anyway, so you have a city phase, you have a fight phase. How I play this game is I have played with one other person. Consistently, we play every other week, typically. And so, 2-player game, you have to run 4 Oathsworn in this game. Oathsworn are your heroes. And so, you can play full characters, or they have what's called companions. I will go over a little bit about that in a second. But, so I've played, typically how we play is we'll play the city phase one night. Then I will open the box and paint the big baddie for the next phase. And so that's how I like to operate, because then when we come up against the big guy, he's painted, and that's fun. There are going to be minor spoilers in this video. We have gone through 3 scenarios. I'm going to talk about those 3 scenarios, specifically one issue with the game, and it comes in Act 3, so I will be very clear when that's coming. If you don't want to hear anything about that, that's fine, but I will give a big, like, wah, spoiler alert at that time. But currently, this is the one everyone's seen. Everyone, if you've watched any Oathsworn videos, this is your first guy you're fighting. So, there's that. There'll be some minor spoilers in addition, but that's where we're at for right now. So, anyway, so we play a city phase, and then we will, I'll paint, and then when we meet back next time, we'll have the fight. So, city phase, so here's very, very minor spoilers, because this is from, like, this is where you start the game. You're going to get a city map. The map has different points of interest on it, and you're going to be traveling around. You're making choices. The story's going to change based on the choices you make. You might have to make some checks along the way. In this game, there's 2 ways that you can play the game. You can play the game with these card decks. So it's very consistent. You are going to know exactly what the 18 cards in each deck are. Coincidentally, you can also roll dice, which is going to be basically the deck makes up 3 sets of dice. So your level 1 die, the white ones, have 2 blanks, 2 1s, a 2, and then a critical 2, which is basically an exploding dice. So if you roll this, you get to roll it again. If you roll it again, you get to roll it again. So you can potentially have that fun of exploding dice, which is always good. But this deck is 3 of these. So there's 6 blanks, there's 6 1s, 3 2s, and 3 critical 2s. So you can use this, or a combination of both, and so you can just draw from the deck and say, okay, these are my 3 that I drew, and so you would get a critical 2, a 2, and a blank. Anytime you get 2 or more blanks in a roll or draw, then you bust, quote-unquote, or you fail your attack or your check or whatever it is. Now, the cool thing about this game is you can do as many of these as you want. If you want to roll 15 dice, you can. There's one caveat when you're doing a basic check. I think the limit is 10, but if you want to make an attack with 47 white dice, you can. But remember, if you get 2 or more blanks, not good. So if you're rolling 47, but you could, theoretically, you could. There's a little bit of mitigation, but not 47 dice worth of mitigation. But anyway, so you can use these, which is more predictable. So if you get a bunch of blanks early, you know, okay, I have good stuff coming up. Similarly, if you draw a bunch of good stuff, you're like, oh, I have a bunch of blanks coming up. I don't ever use these. I use them for the monsters. No, I don't. I don't ever use these. Never. I never use the cards. I roll for everything because rolling dice is more fun. Just my opinion. For me, I play this game as a fun game, not as a, I have to calculate all the odds games. Let's roll some dice, let's have some fun. So that's how I play it. So there's like 4 tier of dice. We have white, yellow, orange, black. And essentially they just kind of go up in value. There's higher attacks, the higher you go up, higher crit. There's not a higher crit chance, but the higher crit number, like the black one is a 5. But they all are going to have 2 blanks on them, regardless of the color. It doesn't matter. You're going to earn tokens over the course of the game that can let you reroll dice, that can let you what's called empower dice, so level them up. You can turn a white to a yellow to an orange to a black, so you can kind of plan out how you want to do that empowering your dice system. So you're going to be going around a city, talking to some people, doing some things. You're going to be earning things. You might be losing things. You can shop during that time. There's a shop situation. I think that might be after the first scenario. I don't remember exactly. But then you're going to find out, like, okay, we gotta take care of this problem. Here's the problem. The people of the city told us the problem. It's on us now. We gotta take care of this. Me and you and him and her, we're going into the Deepwoods and we're gonna mess some stuff up. We're gonna mess up a giant rat. That's what we're gonna do because it's causing chaos. And we can't have chaos in our city, in our land of complete and utter chaos. Really, the world is just chaos. But we can't have that much chaos. That's too much, so we need to deal with it. So that's what you do. Then you go and you fight it. And that is where the second part of the game comes in. The boss battling phase. And that is some fun stuff. Now, I'm going to try and go into a little bit of how the combat in the game works. First of all, it's a hex-based system. So you have a big map. This is in 4. So if you think about this, times 2, that's how big the map is. It's a hex grid system. There's certain terrain that can be involved, and you can put that on there. I don't have the terrain pack, and I've heard that's a good thing because it takes up too much space on the board and you can't see. But so your characters are going to be able to move around and attack, and all the enemies have a kind of a structure to how they're able to be attacked. You can attack their front, you can attack their rear, or you can attack their flanks. And what that does is it could potentially allow you to damage a piece of their body. So I'm just going to pull up the first one here. So all of these are going to have a dice on it that starts at 6, and you have to whittle it down. When you break it past 1, you break that location. If there's a spot on it like claws or a tail, any future attacks will be weakened if they use that particular body part because you have essentially destroyed it or cut it off, or however you want to feel the excitement of fighting a giant monster. So that's kind of going to work. But how the card play works is first we're going to go over the companions. The companions are very clean. The system they use is, I think, very good. So I'm playing the priest as my companion. You essentially are going to get 2 actions every turn. Now your actions can be, you can move up to 4, you can make an attack, or you can perform one of your special abilities. And then you have your priest special abilities. He has a heal, and he has a blessing. A blessing is going to give people those tokens I was telling you about that can let you reroll or gain defense. He's going to give those out like they're candy on Halloween, and it's amazing, and I love it. but you can only use that. You can only use that special ability once per turn, so you can't like double up on an ability. You could use theoretically both abilities separately with your 2 actions, or you can move and then use ability, or attack and use an ability. But it's very simple. They have little counters. They're called animus, whatever. You just move one over, take the action you want, move the other one over, take the action you want, then he's spent. That's how the companions work. They're very clean, and I really like the system that they use. Combat is fluid, so any of the characters can go at any point. There isn't like a clockwise order or anything. Theoretically, one character could take 3, use as much of their animus to perform actions as they want in a row, and then someone else can go, or they could take a movement, and someone else could attack, and then they could take another movement, and then this guy could heal, and so there's no structure to it other than whatever you feel is maximizing the effectiveness of the group is the way that you do it, and that's really nice because it gives you the freedom in a battle to kind of work with that. So that's good. So that's the companions. That's the one that's not a full character that you're playing. The full character I'm playing is the Cur, basically the kind of the rogue, the backstabby situation. But they are going to have a deck of cards that you have, and you'll see in the top corner here, the characters are going to have a card. This is the full player board, so when you're playing a full character, this is the board you use. And so you'll see along the sides we have 1, 2, 3, and then 0. When you play a card, you're going to look at the number 1, so that's going to get played in your 1 zone. Anytime there's cards, so if there was other cards in my 1 zone, if I played this card in the 1 zone, all of those would move to the 0 zone, and the 0 zone is where you get the cards back. It sounds a little complicated. It's not really. Pretty much where you play a card, everything else is going to move. So your 3 cards are more powerful, but they take a lot longer to cycle back to your hand. There are ways that you can cycle them through weapons, through abilities, and things like that, so you can cycle them faster to get those better cards in your hand quicker. But essentially it works out as the higher the number of the card, the stronger the card ability is. So that's essentially how it works. So let's just look at this one, for example. This is the Cur's card. It says level 1. It might have a cost in the corner. This one is 4. So this is how much animus, your kind of stamina, think of it as stamina points or whatever, how much animus it costs to use this ability. So you'd pay 4. If targeting an enemy in the rear, you add 5 to the damage. That's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a really big deal. 5 is insane because when you're dealing damage, everything is divided. So let's say you roll 6 and the enemy has 3 armor, you're going to hit them for 2. So you rolled 6 points worth of attack, but they cancel out with their armor, so you're only going to do 2 damage. Well, this gives you plus 5 damage, so it's kind of a big deal. And then you also gain a little special Cur token that is specific to this class. And then, see if you look down here under this line, there's a little attack symbol. You could just use this as a straight up attack as well. I don't know why you'd want to, but you could. So that's kind of the way the cards work. They also have a defense value at the bottom. This can be played when you're being attacked. Now you have to play your defense before the enemy rolls their damage, so you kind of have to, you could commit cards out of your hand that ultimately you would need, and it could end up hurting you in the long run, but you just got cut. Sometimes you're just too low health and you can't risk dying, and so you have to use it to protect yourself. So that's essentially how the combat system works. So you go through, everyone spends their animus until they can't, and then the enemy gets a phase. You are going to be able to see what the enemy's next attack is going to be, so you can kind of plan the battlefield around that. That being said, if you break a location, where we're talking about where you reduced something down, the attack that's on top immediately happens. So if you do that as your last action of the round, they're going to immediately attack you, and then you're not going to know what the next attack coming is. So you kind of got to plan a little bit on the strategy of the battle strategy, the battle flow, and how you can make it work without causing yourself too many headaches. And so yeah, that's essentially how the game works. Is you're going to go through a city phase, you're going to hear some horrible stories about people's children, and then you're going to go and fight some baddies. Now, so far, I am through 3. Here is minor spoilers. I'm going to show the 3 monsters that I have fought so far. So we did the big rat. So, minor spoilers, here comes level 2. I saw someone, or encounter 2, someone was very angry because this one hadn't been seen. So, we have this guy. Now, the thing about the monsters so far, I'm only 3 in, is they're very different. Very different. This guy had a whole bunch of rats that he brought out. This guy was like, yeah, I'm a mind taker. I'm going to cause you to do stupid things like jump out of trees. So, that's cool. And then, third one is this giant worm thing. And so he had 3 parts all over the board, and he would move, and it had a movement system that was fairly good. It was a little bit fiddly and clunky, but for the most part it was pretty good. It's sometimes a little bit hard with these because it's a circular. It has a front targeting space, so you know which way is facing forward. But when you're lining it up and there's hex, it's on a hex system. Like, okay, this one is in the front. This he has to move 3 to the southeast, and so a little bit like there's a little bit of jankiness with the movement of them. But I think it's kind of once you play it a couple times, you kind of get to the get the nuts and bolts, and it's not too bad at all. All right, we are going to get to spoiler. My one major issue with the game so far, and it's kind of minor, it's kind of minor, kind of major. You can make the decision yourself. If you want to continue listening at this point, you can make the decision on what you think. It gets me a little concerned for the rest of the campaign, and maybe this is on me. So let me lay it out for you. There comes a point during the story, during a city phase, where a major decision has to be made. You have to make it as a group, and you have to figure it out. And you have to, spoiler here, you have to potentially sacrifice one of your Oathsworn that you've already been playing with at this point. So you have to make a decision like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for the good of this community and for the good of everyone. And the way we're playing it kind of role-playing style, where we're playing, all right, what would our characters do in this situation? Not what's the optimal play here? What, like how can we maximize the number of tokens we get? No, we're playing it like, well, clearly one of us would sacrifice ourselves for the good of the city. So we did that. We made the sacrifice. Then, because curiosity, I was like, what would happen if we hadn't done that? Like, would they have automatically killed off one of ours? Like, would we have not gotten to choose? Here's the problem. Nothing. Essentially nothing would have happened. Like, some random dude named Jeff down in the corner was like, I'll save you, and he jumps in and does the same thing that your character did, and, like, you get no negative consequences for it. And that, to me, is kind of a bummer. Because, like, yeah, you're only 2 games in, but you're, like, already invested in your character and things like that. Now you're killing off a character, you're having to start up another one, and realistically, you wouldn't have had to. Like, there's no... And granted, it's a little bit of cheating on my part by looking at the other stuff, like, what would have happened if we'd done this? What would have happened if we'd done that? Like, well, maybe I should play the whole game again to see what would have happened. Fair, fine, if that's the way you want to play it, that's fine, but I was just curious, we were both curious, and we're like, okay. And so that left a pretty sour taste in our mouth. Like, this is, like, a big decision, like, you're sacrificing one of your characters, and it's like, dude, Jeff could have done that, and then I'd still have my archer around to shoot things in the face, and that'd be cool, because I'd like to have my archer shooting things in the face, because I like my archer. And, so that was a little disappointing, and I'm hoping that's not a trend in the game where realistically your decisions don't matter. because it kind of feels bad. But anyway, that is 100% like my main critique, and that's kind of a sketchy critique because had I not cheated and looked at the other story, I wouldn't have even known that was the case. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's cheating necessarily. It's just like, you know, getting extra information that what would have happened sort of thing. We didn't reverse course. We kept it the way it was. If we had reversed course and been like, oh, well, let Jeff take the bullet, that'd be cheating, in my opinion. But we're like, well, that's dumb. But we kept it the way it is. We rolled a new character, and so it's fine. We're going forward, and everything is good. But that's my main critique. Overall, here we are. I'm at a 9 on this game. I think it is very good. I think it's very fun. The very first time we played, I started using the cards, and then I started getting into that, like, oh, we've had 4 blanks, or 4 good ones, so that means there's blanks. We should roll dice. And I started getting into that, and I'm like, nope, don't want to do it. We're just rolling dice. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you get hit for a lot of damage. But sometimes you roll really good, and it's really fun. So I think it's worth it. You know, if you want to use the cards, go ahead. But for me, the dice rolling is fun. The game is fun. It's cool. I think... I don't want to say it's a lot, but like we have 2 players. If you played 4 players, I think it could get long to do a city and a fight in the same thing. Now, you also have to take that with a grain of salt. It's a friend that I see every 2 weeks, so like we're playing, but we're also talking, and so it's not just like get to the table, focus in on the game, here we go. So if that's the way your group is, you could probably crank out the city phase and the fight phase in one session pretty easily. But, you know, if you're just having fun and you're just talking and you're just playing, typically how we work it now is city phase, take a break, then we do the fight phase. When we come back the next time, we level up our characters and do the city phase, fight phase, level up our characters, do the city phase. That's kind of how we have been operating at this point. And it seems to be working good. We seem to like it. And so we're going to stick with it. I like it. I have not painted the characters yet. I know, I have a lot of painting to do, but I want to make sure that the monsters, when you fight them, I want it to feel. I want to feel that visceral reaction of this rat ready to bite your face off. So, Oathsworn, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. It's a beast. It's a commitment, but it's worth it, in my opinion. Like it's not a cheap game, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a cool system. The combat system is cool. The monsters are cool. The difference in the monsters are cool. I already know what the fourth monster we're fighting is, so interested in how that's going to go. But yeah, it's different, it's neat, it's fun, and yeah, I'm at a 9. I don't know if it'll get to a 10. I'm not sure what would push it there. I think I'm happy with it at a 9. And not every game needs to be a 10. 9s are great. And so that's what we're going to do. Oathsworn, 9 times however long this video is. No, I'm not giving you that many points. That's insanity. I'm not giving you that many points. That's crazy. But I will give 9 times. I'm going to roll an orange die. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus another 9 is 27. 27 points if you've watched this far. Keep on keeping on. I love you. Keep on gaming. Have fun out there and play some games. Bye!